Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for attending, and I'm very excited to share with you our game, Operation Incorporation. As for me, the programmer on the team, my name is Brandon, and I live in San Diego. I'm currently pursuing a Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering at UCSD. I am deeply interested in emerging technologies that could affect the future of humanity, such as artificial intelligence. Now, to pass it on to my fellow teammate, Declan.
Hello, I am Declan Mintz. I was this team's designer. I am from Walnut Creek, upstate in California. I am currently pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Games at the University of Utah with a specific interest in level design.
Hi, I'm Chloe. I'm the artist. My hometown is San Diego, California, and my career interests are digital art, crocheting, video game art, sculpting, and hobby horse design.
Hello, my name is Zelda, and like Brandon, I currently attend UCSD. I'm originally from Berlin, Germany, but I'm now pursuing a degree in chemistry and business management, and I worked as our team's project manager and also worked with Chloe as the artist. So just to give you sort of an overview of our project proposals, so this is our client, Dr. Michael Yip. And he currently works as a professor at UCSD in the electrical and computer engineering department, as Pam already mentioned earlier. And he also runs the advanced robotics and controls laboratory here at UCSD. So when we were assigned our original project, the project we were assigned was supposed to be a single player game that showed basic functionality of operations, procedures, and also just medical technology in general. And it was also intended to teach a 6th grade audience. So we're talking about a younger audience who obviously doesn't have a college degree level of scientific expertise. And it was also meant to reference the game Overcooked, which you can see on the bottom part of the screen here.
So I would like to talk about the interface a little bit. So this is the level that the player works with. As you can see, we have a conveyor belt that delivers patients into the room. Our player over here is a doctor. There's several stations that the player can interact with, such as the organ fridge, the medicine cabinet, the blood station, and the surgery table. The doctor's objective is to treat patients. So once the patients are treated, they are sent to the patient beds. But if the doctor fails to tend to a patient, they get sent into the morgue. We run sort of a dystopian hospital here. So the goal of our game, the player must successfully treat 5 patients with various diseases. As I mentioned earlier, they are delivered into the room via a conveyor belt. You may notice that they're these little bean-shaped people. We decided to go with something non-human just because we have an audience of middle schoolers and we feel like they'd not be comfortable working on a actual human. However, we made their anatomy similar to that of a human internally because it is important that it is accurate to human anatomy for what we're teaching.
So each of the patients that comes into the room is randomized. However, within the randomized patients, there are 3 separate conditions. So the first is liver failure, the second is appendicitis, and the third is gallstone disease. So each of your patients comes into the room with a particular type of disease, and then each of these diseases has its different sets of treatment conditions. So each of these different patients will need to go to a different set of stations, requires a different set of medications to be properly treated. However, the conditions themselves are randomized. So when you come into the room The overarching view that Declan described is above. However, each of these tasks is conducted at a different station, which are the organ room, the med cabinet, the surgery table, and also our blood drawing station. And then each of these stations has their own tasks. So the organ room, if you open it up, has a selection of different organs where the students learn about the different organ names. Then our medicine cabinet teaches students about the different kinds of medications that you'd need pre and post-operatively, and also partially about the dosages. However, that was less so the focus, given that naturally there's a different number of medications and all of them have their own administration procedures. So some of them also come in liquid format or pills. So this is less so the focus than the names themselves. The surgery table itself is intended to teach students about different transplant procedures on a very basic level, naturally for sixth graders. And it's also supposed to teach students the names of different surgery tools, which they also learn in the procedure. Finally, we have the blood drawing station, and the blood drawing station was designed to teach students about the procedure of blood testing and identifying the correct blood types. So that is what that station teaches you about.
So for the art assets, the tools we used are Photoshop, Medibing Paint, and Adobe Illustrator. We went with pixel art for the art style of this game, as it is very beneficial for building the tiles that build the map of the game, and it's a very popular video game style, as well as when we're making animations for the characters, it allows minimal frames while still giving a snappy and polished look. And there's an example of a game, Stardew Valley, with pixel art. One of my inspirations for the art style was Dumb Ways to Die. You can see our comparison of the patient and the bean-shaped characters. A lot of our generation grew up on Adobe Flash Player games, and it was a big inspiration. If you played any Adobe Flash Player games, you are probably familiar with the website Newgrounds. This art style is really what we were going for, with the black line art and very bold shading. And for the animations, specifically the Doctor Walking, I researched Richard Williams, and he was the guy who made Looney Tunes and animated a lot of the characters. We chose his walking style, as it's very animated and exaggerated, recognizable, and you can very clearly see the motions. And there's a little clip of our doctor.
I'm pressing the wrong button. Sorry about that. So now let's talk about design a little bit. As a designer, I was given these puzzle pieces and I had to fit them in a way that correctly suited the gameplay and felt right as a player. So a lot of the things that I've customized, for example, include the camera. We chose this aerial view just because it provided a good overview of the room we're working with and is very easy to, I guess, work with on the technical side. So this is what the player sees in game. So we chose this camera view so that the player is able to see a lot of stuff on screen at one time, but it's not the whole level that fits into the camera, so that the player is encouraged to move around and explore a little bit. Another thing that I got to customize as a designer was the patients themselves. I can choose how frequently they appear on the conveyor belt and how fast the conveyor belt moves them. So I can give the player more or less urgency depending on what felt right. And yeah, I'm going to pass it over to Brandon now, who's going to talk about programming.
All right. So my main job as a programmer was to communicate to the computer using the C# programming language. So what I had to do was I had to manage how how the patients and the player and each of the 5 stations, including the human organ station, the medicine cabinet station, the blood draw station, the surgery table station, and the recovery station all interacted with each other in various complex and intricate ways. One of the systems that I designed as a programmer was the inventory system, because as the player progresses throughout the game, they need to collect certain items, and I need to create a system for keeping track of those items. I also need ways to add items to the system and delete items if your inventory is too full, in case you accidentally collect 5 red medicine bottles. This system also needed to communicate with other systems to ensure that the player had the right items before entering surgery. Or another minigame. One of my main jobs as a programmer was to control the flow of the game. My game needed to detect it when a player pressed start because, well, you don't want to get stuck on the start screen, do you? But then my code needs to detect when a player picks up a body. But then it needs to decide what kind of condition that player has and needs to teleport it and needs to transfer it to the right station. Because if you're just going to the hospital to get some blood work, you don't want to accidentally be sent to the surgery table. That'd be horrible. But then you need the right medicine. Because imagine if the doctor walked into the surgery room without any equipment whatsoever. I don't want to think about what happened. So the station needs to make sure that you have the right equipment before you can continue. And then after you have the right equipment, you need to open a minigame. Now, the player can either successfully complete the minigame or fail. And if he fails, well, I really, really don't want to think about the lawsuits. The legal stuff's a headache, isn't it? So then, let's say the patient fails. They lose. And then they're a bad doctor, and they get into a lot of legal trouble, and a lot of tears are shed. But if the player successfully completes the minigame, is it over? Hell no! There are still 4 more patients to treat. So the player has to go through all 4 of these again without a single misstep. Yeah, being a doctor can be hard. I know, my dad would know. And after they complete after they successfully treat all 4 patients, they can successfully call themselves a master doctor, and they win the game.
Okay, so as aforementioned, I was the project manager for this team, and that includes knowing when to stop. And unfortunately, despite our wonderful ideas that we had, we obviously only had 9 weeks. So that meant we had to put aside some of our ideas. And we still wanted to feature them, though, because we think they're great ideas. And if we had the opportunity to continue working on this, we would love to integrate some of these ideas. So possible improvements that we wanted to include in the game and partially even started working on are adding more diseases. We ended up limiting our game to 3 diseases for functional purposes and because we ended up losing a coder during our process in this game. So we actually would have loved to integrate more transplants. We also would have liked to add other features such as a pointing system, a health bar, or also a pain level bar. We'd love to have worked with an audio designer to add some audio, and some future game features that we would love to embed are things such as anesthesia drip mini games in order to teach students how to adjust anesthesia levels and teach them a little bit about anesthesia. We also would have loved to incorporate more post-operative patient care in order to show students a little bit about post-operative infections and ways to treat those and just post-operative complications that can occur. We also would have loved to teach them about CPR and breathing support because those are super fundamental, important medical procedures, as well as integrating breathing support and price points for medications because one of the unknown aspects of hospital problems is that actually understanding and getting certain medications is really complicated to finance, and that's a huge problem that hospitals deal with. So we'd like to take this opportunity to say thanks for listening, and also thank you for all the other people that helped us, especially a big shout out to Gilead Cosman, who basically supplemented this entire program as our coder and helped us so much in this process. So thank you so much to him. We also wanted to thank our client, Professor Yip, for providing invaluable knowledge on all of the medical procedures and the foundation for this entire project, and just generally being a great guide and resource. We also wanted to thank Isabel for being with us every day and showing up for everyone, and also Daphne for our slides manager, who came in and just supported us the whole way through towards the end. So thank you very much to all of those people and everyone else who helped organize this. Do you guys have any questions?
Hi, I really love the humor, and I think having a middle schooler myself, they're going to love this because they'll find it really funny. My question is, I'm curious if this experience opened up any new academic or career paths for any of you.
I mean, I can personally speak on this. So I'm currently majoring in chemistry and also added a project management, not project management, what am I saying? Business management major as a secondary process. So actually this was super interesting to me because I've spent my entire academic career trying to combine sort of the artistic and the scientific. And this was a really wonderful opportunity in order to integrate the two because they're rarely combined. And you rarely are able to apply both in the same field. So this was a really wonderful opportunity to actually make use of your chemistry knowledge in a very applicable, useful way that actually benefits other people. So at least for me, that was a really interesting experience. I can't speak for them, so I'll pass over the mic to the others.
So as the artist, this internship gave me a pretty good opportunity in getting my foot in for having experience in the game development industry. And it gave me a new appreciation for video game art in general. And I think it was a great opportunity just to get my foot in the business or the industry.
As a designer, I believe this gave me good experience with collaboration and communication, because as a designer, I'm gonna need like several resources from other people. So this gave me a good introduction to how to approach that.
As a programmer of the team and a major and a student of electrical engineering, this program taught me so many things. Like, it's kind of mind-boggling. Like, I learned version control, which was hell. Oh God. But and Unity and C#, and I even met people in the gaming industry, like people who are actually like there working, and wow, I just, I learned coding, and I learned about collaboration, and I got to meet awesome, amazing new people. I just have to thank you, Pamela, for this opportunity. And I have to thank everyone here for this wonderful opportunity where I got to learn so much and meet so many new people. Anyone else want to speak? No?
Congratulations. Looks like a great game, and it sounds like you guys had a lot of fun. I'm just curious, how was the team impacted by losing your coder? And what kind of pivots did you have to make, and what did you learn from that?
Short answer. I don't think we would have survived without Gilead. He came in after our first coder left, and he was a huge help and helped me learn, and also took over some programming tasks. Really good. Huge thanks to him.
I think it's important to note that we lost our coder week 1. So we pretty much immediately lost our coder. So Gilead really took over a huge part of that for us. And I don't think we would have gotten as far as we did because we were already either the smallest team or one of the smallest teams. So we really owe a lot to him, and he's a wonderful help to our team.